Hi, welcome to the Global G event. My name is Gerardo Navarrete. I am a Google for Education certified trainee. I am a leader from GEG Campeche from Mexico and also co-leader in Global GEG. Welcome everybody. Please make sure that you drop your Twitter handle, your contact, and where you are in our chat. Today, we have Miss Clara Galan, who is presenting on GG Global about Adobe Creative Educator, a global professional learning community and learning and batching program for educators in every subject area and grade level. So, welcome, Clara.
Hi, Gerardo. Thank you so much for having me today. Hi, everyone.
Hey, it's really nice. So, welcome, Clara. I would like to introduce her because I could take all the sessions talking about her. Clara Galan is the Global Community Manager at the Adobe Education K-12 and Higher Education team, a former teacher of ELA, ESL, and Spanish for K-12. She's passionate about the importance of relationships in social emotional learning and educating with the whole child. Prior to joining Adobe, Clara worked building educator communities and professional development content for Amazon Kindle Education, Remain.com, and the George Lucas Educational Foundation. Clara lives in San Francisco and loves learning about education technology and tools to improve the education system. I know that she's gonna rock today with her presentation. So welcome all of you, and I left the scene to Clara for a great journey of learning with her. We will be here for you, Clara. Everything you need, you just call me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, it's a pleasure to be here today, and I've seen already some great comments in the chat. So if you're just joining in, please post in the chat where you're joining us from. I'd love to learn to know a little bit more about you, what you're teaching, and how we can best support you on the Adobe for Education team. So thank you again, Gerardo, for that wonderful warm introduction. And as he mentioned, I manage our global educator community programs here at Adobe for Education. As the intro mentioned, our headquarters are based in San Francisco, and I used to live in San Francisco, but about 6 months ago, moved to Barcelona, Spain. So I'm joining you today from Spain live, and looking forward to how we can continue to grow our educator community programs all around the world. I also, my passion is building communities of educators, so connecting teachers from around the world together to improve professional learning practice, and ultimately really connecting educators to our product teams and to engineers. And although many of the folks on my team, including myself, come from a teaching background, so I taught in the Bay Area in San Francisco area, California, middle school. We are not in the classroom every day, and as much as we try to visit classrooms as much as possible, we want to connect with teachers like you, and to connect teachers to our product teams, to engineers, because you know what's working best in the classroom. And it's only through our collaboration together that we can work together to make the best possible solutions for your students. And we recognize that every classroom is unique. And so what might work for one group of learners might be different in each classroom. So that's where the power of community and the power of a professional learning community globally really takes place. So with that, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Let's see here, and I'm going to go ahead and share my PowerPoint, and hopefully everyone can see that all right. Double checking, I'm going to go back to here. Perfect. So this, I wanted to share with you a little bit today about the educator programs at Adobe. And so, as I mentioned, we're really focused on the power of our PLN, building a global community of educators to share best practices with one another and support one another. This year has been really challenging for everyone, especially those who are, started out in a distance learning environment, completely transforming your instruction to figure out how to connect with students online and how to keep them engaged. How to tackle issues of equity and students that have access to internet and technology, and opening up a lot of innovative solutions for that. And so, I wanted to start this off by saying thank you to every educator that's watching this. You have been so resilient in, figuring out ways to stay connected to your students. And I think, the world needs to be recognizing more of what educators are doing and juggling. I know many are now transitioning to perhaps a hybrid environment where you're trying to figure out how to, shape your instruction for some students that are tuning in remotely, and some who are live, and managing those classroom management pieces, and how to optimize your instruction for students in different environments. And so the purpose of our community really is to connect educators to one another and share what's working. And, we don't want educators to feel isolated at home or in their classroom. There is a global community out there, as all of you in GEG know. So hope that our community can be a small part of that and continue to support you in the work that you're doing. But in terms of the goals and purpose of the Adobe Creative Educator community, we really strive to connect and inspire educators in their journey to nurture the next generation of lifelong creators. And in terms of lifelong creators, this has really changed, especially this year, as it's become increasingly important for students to be able to communicate their ideas in a visually compelling way, and to be able to make their thinking visible, and to be able to tell their stories, no matter what subject area or project they're working on. They need to be able to tell their story in a way that's visually compelling and communicate that. And this is increasingly evident within social media channels and communicating to an authentic audience. It's not only, I taught English language arts, and, students would often, write essays printed out, sent to me. I would write my comments back, send it back. And that's not the world we live in anymore. Students need to create multimedia, things that are dynamic, things that are interactive. And, here at Adobe, that's one of the main things that we want to help focus on, as I know Google does as well, and we are a Google partner. And I can even say, from my own teaching practice, how much of that even transformed with Google Apps for Education, and being able to provide comments in Google Docs and make it really interactive. And so that's one of the things, in our partnership with Google, that we want to continue to provide. But in terms of lifelong creators, we also don't know what the jobs of the future are going to be. I can even say, my role right now at Adobe, building online community programs and virtual professional development sessions, didn't exist, 15 years ago or 10 years ago. And so we don't know what those future jobs will look like, but what we can do is prepare students with the skills that they'll need. So digital creation skills, critical thinking skills, creativity. These are all pieces that no matter what industry students go into in the future or what job they have, they will need to be able to do that and look at a problem from different angles and solve it in a creative way. So in terms of our community, those are in terms of a larger umbrella of thoughts, like that's what we really want to focus on. But we do that in three main areas. The first is we have our global community of professional learning, and I'll share a little bit more about the Adobe Creative Educator program in a moment. We also, as I mentioned, have partnerships with product teams. And so it's interesting at Adobe because within Creative Cloud, we have 20 products. So I can't see the chat here, but just curious if you're familiar with any of the Adobe tools like Adobe Spark or Photoshop or Premiere Rush or Premiere Pro, Illustrator, Character Animator, Adobe XD, Adobe Aero. Those are just a few of the 20 apps that are within Creative Cloud. So as you can imagine, that is a huge organization with a lot of different products. And so each product has its own team, and it almost functions like its own mini company, developing these products, figuring out how to best meet professionals and students' needs. And so what we do is, within our community, we work with teachers every day to figure out what's working, what features do you need from these products, what would you like to see, what should we change? And those are the eyes and ears of what our product teams need to hear. So we have a very close relationship with all of our product teams to better serve our educators in developing the products that we do. And then last but not least, amplifying educator voices, stories, and resources. All of our social media channels and our newsletters and everything else that's external facing doesn't focus really on the Adobe team. And I think just from my own experience as an educator, and would love to kind of see in the chat after I finish sharing my screen, like, we don't want to hear a company kind of touting products to us. We want to hear from another educator down the hall, like what's been working. We want to know what a teacher in a different country might be working on. And maybe we have similarities, maybe we have differences. Like, how can we all work as teachers together in a mission to push education forward and better prepare students for the future? So all of our channels, we focus on amplifying these stories. Our educators from around the world, what are different use cases, like what are projects that have worked well, how are they best engaging students in these increasingly challenging environments, and what are their stories, and how, most importantly, do we celebrate them? Because in today's society, quite frankly, we're not celebrating and recognizing teachers in the way that we should be. And so, at least from our company's standpoint, this is something that we do have the channels and the reach to do. So we want to take that amplification and that reach and be able to put educators first and foremost in there. And so I'll share a little bit more about the Adobe Education Exchange in a moment. But the Adobe edX is our open educational resource platform with courses, resources, lesson plans, all for educators to access at any time, and can earn badges and certificates through these. Everything on there is free. It is an OER platform, so we provide everything. And then we also have the opportunity for educators to upload their own resources and lesson plans as well, to share with the larger community. So this is a map that just shows kind of the magnitude of, we have currently over 800,000 educators on the platform. We're aiming for over 1 million this year. And it's at edx.adobe.com. I encourage you to check it out, and I'll go through the experience of the platform in a moment. But an excellent resource, whether you're getting started with Creative Cloud, Adobe Spark, there are a lot of resources in there. And then, of course, the course for the Adobe Creative Educator program. So as you can see, we're very international and are looking forward to continuing to expand all around the world. So the Adobe Creative Educator program, I'll dive into in a little bit, but this is our very first community, global community and professional development badging program for educators in every subject and grade level. And so if you think about Adobe traditionally, and even when I joined the company 4 years ago, we had been primarily working with higher education faculty members who were teaching graphic design, videography, game design, arts. And now, especially as I mentioned, as jobs, the future are continuing to grow, and every student needs to be able to express their ideas with visual components and in a visually compelling way. We've started to expand our offerings from a product perspective, but then also from our community. And so when I first started at Adobe and would go into classrooms, a lot of educators would say to me, "Oh, you work at Adobe, they make PDFs, right? Or I've heard of Photoshop, but why would that be applicable to me? I teach English or I teach science. Photoshop doesn't, I don't need to use that." And so noticing this need of students need to be able to create visual pieces, but also it needs to be scaffolded in terms of a lot of the Adobe products are super complex, and we need a scaffolded way for students to be able to kind of start using them, a lot of web-based solutions, and then graduate up to some of the more complex products if they then, go into, more relatable fields. And so with that, we created a couple different products like Adobe Spark, which many of you might be familiar with, Adobe XD, which allows students to prototype apps, Character Animator, which allows students to create animations from scratch that actually recognizes their facial recognitions through a camera, and they can automatically create animation. So products like that are more are easier to use from the get-go, and then teach students like the basics of graphic design, like what is a layer, how to use colors, like what are some of the different design guardrails that are already built in. And so not only from the tools perspective, but we also want to connect educators that are exploring creativity across the curriculum. What does creativity look like? It's something we know that's really important in the job force when students graduate, but how do we teach it? Like where does it appear in standards? What does the creative process look like? How do you evaluate creativity, most importantly, if this is something you're spending time on? And I'll share more about this in a moment, but this is what we dive into in the Adobe Creative Educator program. And actually, it doesn't even start with the products per se. It starts more with defining creativity and what it looks like across all different subject areas. We have educator stories, videos, resources, and it's more focused on teaching and learning first, and then the tools serve as a kind of a complementary part. We also, in this program, partner with Google, we partner with Microsoft, and many other ed tech startups that you might recognize. So I'll look forward to sharing more about that in a moment. But we encourage everyone to check out Adobe Creative Educator program, and I'll share in a moment what badges we offer and how you can earn them. So our hashtag also, since I know many of the folks on here are active on social media, I am as well myself on Twitter. We encourage you to share all of your experiences either from this presentation or other professional development opportunities with the hashtag Adobe EDU Creative. This is an amazing resource because no matter what time zone you're in or where you're based in the world, you can search this hashtag at any time, connect with teachers. If we had a Twitter chat, you can see kind of later on what teachers have been talking about. And then it's just like serves as a constant flow of resource sharing and information. Our product teams are also very active on TweetDeck and are following this hashtag. So it's a great way for them to kind of see what's going on in schools and in the community as well. And what's even better is on our Adobe Creative Educator landing page, we also have a Twitter widget built in. So if you tweet and share kind of what you've been working on, how you've been using Adobe Spark or other tools, or just how you've been approaching creativity in your classroom, this will show up on the page. So you can get a special highlight on the Adobe Creative Educator page. We also have digital and printed swag that we send out, but as we were building this program from scratch, I should mention we only launched this program in June of last year, and we currently have over 27,000 educators that are part of the program and that have taken the course, which is mind-boggling and really exciting. So, when we were designing this, my colleagues and I, Tanya Averith and Jen Williams, and a few other members of the team, we were thinking about what would be, we don't want to create, obviously we'll have t-shirts and stickers and all that fun stuff, but we want to create swag that's actually actionable and that teachers can use with students. That's not just another, tchotchke that they'll have in their classroom. And so we worked very closely with Rebecca Hare, who is the author of the book, The Space, if you're familiar with that, to think about these pieces. And we came up with some digital creative process cards that go through the creative process of define, create, and reflect, that have prompts on them that you can work through with students at any age level, any subject area. So we have digital versions of those. And then we also have an Adobe Creative Educator digital poster. We also have these in print as well. So we have these ACE boxes that we send out that I can share more about. But this poster lives in your classroom, but it's also interactive. And so if you, we have stickers that go with the poster, so you can actually track when students are going through the creative process of define, create, and reflect, and then really continue to build out the stickers on the poster. So then when you've filled it all out, you know that students, have been going through that process. So really great pieces to use, whether you access the digital version or the printed version. And I wanted to end with, we are better together. This is not about Adobe. This is not about any company, Google, any, company. It's about building a community of teachers that are better together, that are learning from one another. And we can't push education forward if we're isolated and we're not learning from one another. And I know especially this can be challenging because you're focused on your class, you're focused on your students, whether you're teaching at home remotely or you're back in the classroom now, you don't get very many opportunities to kind of peek down the hall to see what the other teacher's working on, or, sit in another classroom. And that's what social media and a lot of these educator programs provide, is an opportunity to sit and listen and see what other people are working on, be inspired, and then also share your own work. So there's another hashtag, Better Together, that I know the Flipgrid team uses. I've seen a lot of Google certified innovators use as well. Just want to echo that sentiment and know that this is something that we're very dedicated to. So that's the end of that presentation, and I'm going to walk you through the actual website and some of the resources we offer. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me directly. My email is galn@adobe.com. And I'm also on Twitter @Miss Clara Galan. I'm on Twitter a lot, so if you want to reach out, share resources with me, I love sharing those and then sharing them with the larger Adobe community. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the actual landing page.
Hey,
yeah.
There are some questions for you in the chat I'm going to show you, but perfect. I think you haven't finished and I am interrupting. Just finish and then we go to the questions. Please.
Perfect. And I'm fine to take any questions too. I know these live streams are, really casual and live. And so if you have questions, post them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. But yeah, so I can go ahead and share the our main landing page. So I'll actually just post here the links in our private chat. And if our hosts can then post them in the comments, these are the two links that I'll be sharing today. There we go. So the first is, let's see, Chrome tab here, the Adobe Creative Educator Program page. So I posted this in the private chat, but this is edx.adobe.com/adobe-creative-educator. You can also go to adobe.ly/ACE as our shortened version. But this is the landing page that has everything you need to know about the Adobe Creative Educator program. So, what are you a creative educator? This is for educators in every subject area and grade level. So no matter what you teach, if you're interested in approaching the creative process and figuring out how to evaluate creativity in your classroom, this is the program for you. All the pictures on here are from actual events. So this is actually one of the last events we went to in Florida. This is my colleague, Tanya Abrith. And then there's some educators on here we've worked with in the past, including Tammy Neal, who leads Florida Education Chat, if you've connected with her before. But in terms of level 1, so there are 2 badges that we currently offer for ACE. The first one is Adobe Creative Educator Level 1. And you can earn your badge by taking a 1-hour course on the Adobe Education Exchange. This 1-hour course has videos, different reflection questions, resources that you can access, and it's for all grade levels. This course helps you to define creativity, see what it looks like in the classroom, as many of you are, I'm sure, already familiar with this and have your own kind of concept of what your students are, how they're going through the creative process. But then it takes it a step further in terms of looking at creativity across the curriculum. And then most importantly, how to evaluate creativity in formative assessment. Then the second piece, so we know time is of the essence. So we wanted to make sure it was really clear, 3 steps. Step 2, submit a learning artifact assignment, so a graphic that portrays how you will cultivate creativity with your learners. And this serves as your creativity manifesto, essentially. So this is within Adobe Spark. You can create a Spark post that shows, answers the prompt. And if you have any questions about Adobe Spark, it goes through it within the self-paced course, but you can also reach out to me with any questions you might have. And then we ask educators to share out their graphic with the larger community to inspire using the hashtag Adobe EDU Creative, of course, if you're active on social media channels. So then this says start level 1, and it would just take you to, I'm going to go ahead and share the other tab here. Let's see, here we go. This would actually take you to the course of level 1. I've already taken the course, so you'll be able to download your certificate, and you'll get access to your Adobe Creative Educator level 1 badge that is aligned to Credly and Acclaim. And for this, we have a certificate that marks 3 hours of professional development. So that is for the 1-hour course, in addition to creating your artifact and any other external research that you would need to do to complete your course. Then also here, I'll go back to the main page. Again, that's edx.adobe.com/Adobe Creative Educator. Let's see here. Perfect. And I'll go ahead and go back to the main page. Takes a second to load here. Perfect. And then all the benefits of the program, we offer curated resources. We have a global community from educators all around the world of over 27,000 educators. We offer live events. So we have a weekly live stream show every Thursday on the Adobe for Education Facebook page. So I'll post actually the link to that in the chat here. Adobe for Education, Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. PT. So if you log into that, we have different thought leaders on the show every week. We have educators from different districts come in from all around the world. So it's a really great live stream show. And what's great, it's on StreamYard, just like the product we're using right now, and it's automatically recorded, so you can access it at any time. And then we also offer swag, so you can see some of these fun t-shirts we have and the Adobe Creative Educator box. And then we also share work on social media channels. Once you've completed your level 1, we have a level 2, which takes it a step further. So while level 1 is about exploring, defining creativity, evaluating it, looking at it across the curriculum, level 2 focuses on instructional design and how do you plan for creativity. So again, we have a 1-hour course that goes through all these different components. A lot more pedagogy involved in this course. Then there's 2 artifacts, so 2 assignments for level 2. One is an actual instructional plan to plan for creativity in your classroom. We provide a template, and then a 1-minute video that documents what you want to achieve as an Adobe Creative Educator. Then last, we ask you to share your instructional plan on the Adobe Education Exchange and on social media with the hashtag Adobe EDU Creative so that other educators can also access it. While level 1 focuses on all subject areas and grade levels, level 2, we have 2 different courses. So depending on if you teach K through 12, primary, secondary, or higher education, you can select the course that's right for you, the path that's right for you. For K-12, it's called Design Your Creative class, And for higher education, it's called Designing Your Creative Course. So again, say you select K-12, it'll take you here. There we go. Oops, and I'm going to share my other tab. Sorry, I'm going back and forth here. Let's see. Design Creative Class, perfect. So it would take you to this, this course, and you can download your certificate. Again, you'd earn a badge. And unlike the first course that offers 3 hours of professional development, this course offers 6 hours of professional development once you complete it. So I encourage you to take a look at that. And I will go back to the final pieces of the Adobe Creative Educator site. So again, once you earn your level 2 badge, we also have, our hashtag here, our weekly live stream show, and then of course our Facebook group that you can access and participate in. And then, as I mentioned, we have additional resources. We have an Adobe Spark Professional Development Toolkit you can access if you want to lead a PD session for your district or for your group of educators at your school. We have the digital process cards I shared, the poster, and then we also have a partnership with Khan Academy. So we have many Khan and Create lessons, distance learning resources, and a few challenges by my colleague Dominic Trainer, who's based in the United Kingdom, called Zero to Digital Hero. So a lot of great in-a-box activities, projects that you can do with students. So again, we encourage you to start your journey and start level 1. And we also have an international crew called our Adobe Creative Educator crew that actually helped us launch this program last June. We also meet with this group once a month to hear their feedback, share kind of what they're working on, and they just basically serve as our advisory board for the Adobe Creative Educator program. So you might see some familiar faces on here, but again, it's educators from all around the world. If you click on one of these, it'll take you to their Education Exchange profile and their Twitter account. So can take a look at some of these amazing folks from around the world. And if you're interested and are using Adobe Spark and are a creative educator and want to partake within this group, send me an email and I'd be happy to share more. And then this is our amazing Twitter widget that shares all of the different pieces on here. So you can take a look at that for any tweets that are coming in real time from educators around the world. And then, as I mentioned, these are some of our partners. We've worked with others in the past. Flipgrid, Google, Microsoft, Canvas, HyperDocs. If you work with Lisa Heifel and team, we have been working with them quite a bit. Amazing group of educators. And then the Department of Education in India. We also have a partnership with Wakelet and a few others that we are continuing to develop and put on here. And then last but not least, you can see our social media channels on here. And then if you have any questions, feel free to email us at any time, Adobe EDU community@adobe.com. And I'll share one more quick thing before we jump to questions. Let's see here. So this is the Adobe Education Exchange where we have all of our resources. So you can create an account for free. And then when you create an account, you're able to access the Adobe Creative Educator program. So as you can see, different areas that you can look at, self-paced courses. So even if you've never used anything Adobe before or have zero experience in graphic design and want to learn more, or videography or animation or anything digital media, this is perfect. But we also offer more advanced courses as well. If you have already kind of used some of these tools, we offer advanced courses. But it's a great way, like 3D skills in the classroom, video projects, Acrobat or Document Cloud, Spark. Like there's a lot of different courses that are all self-paced. And with all of these, you'll earn a badge and also a professional development certificate that you can share with your administrator for specific hours. So I encourage you to take a look at those, and then you can see other resources that we offer. from many of our educators, distance learning resources, Archon and Create. So there's a lot of different resources that we encourage you to access. And with that, so those are the main things I wanted to share with you today. I'm looking forward to having you be a part of our professional learning community and connecting with you and learning more about the work that you do. And if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat and we can go ahead and answer some of them.
I'm gonna show you some of them. There's one for Shannon Moore.
Hi, Shannon. I know Shannon.
Yeah.
Of all your EdTech experience, why does Adobe mean so much to you? I have to say, non-biased, Adobe is the best place I've worked. Like, I love the team. I love the tools and the focus on creativity. And especially from someone who comes from kind of more of an arts and liberal arts background, I find the work really interesting. And I love how we're approaching STEAM in particular and figuring out how we can provide visual components to, even the more traditional technical or science subjects. I think there's always a way to be able to bring in visual storytelling into that. So
we have more from Shannon.
What would be number one piece of advice for someone who wants to get started with the cloud? So I would start with Adobe Spark. So I'm going to put this in here, spark.adobe.com, where you can learn to create graphics, videos, web pages, and teaches the kind of basics of like what is a layer, how do you bring in different layers together and different images and colors and shapes. And I think, with video, it also kind of helps you to get started with that, with building web pages. So I would say start with that and then join edX, join the Education Exchange and take some of the courses on there that are really self-explanatory, self-paced to get some more resources. And then start the Adobe Creative Educator program. Adobe Creative Educator, that it'll help you connect with other people. Next question, what would you say to someone who feels like they aren't creative enough and are worried about taking risks in the classroom? Yes, I think the one thing that we're really focused on with the Adobe Creative Educator program is that creativity is not just for the arts. It is in every subject area, and it's not even how you think of like an artistic creativity. It's how are you a problem solver and can look at a problem from multiple different angles to solve it creatively. So I think that is something to keep in mind. In terms of the fear, it is scary to learn something that you've never done before. And especially with teachers, we have no time. Like trying to learn something new, it has to be like easy to grasp, but also meaningful for students if you're going to invest the time in it. And I think Spark in particular is something that's really easy to use. So you can kind of get started with that and just dive in.
We have another question in when you were presenting. Someone asked about free your certifications.
Yes. So the Adobe Creative Educator program is absolutely free. Everything I've shared here with you today is free. Getting your certificate, because I know, for example, like with some like I believe the Google certifications, there is some cost involved, but for ours, we do not have any cost involved. So you can just sign up on edX for a free account. Spark is also free to use. And if you're interested in getting the premium version, so basically the difference between the premium and the free version is that essentially there's a watermark that's on the bottom of all images, and we have more templates that are available. But what we are offering for schools is a free version of that. So send me an email, or actually I can share the Spark page on here. Let's see, spark.adobe.com/education. Here, I'll share my screen and the link. Here, I'm sharing it in the private chat so we can post it in there. So the other piece is that this is our free offering for schools. It's also COPA and FERPA aligned, so we want to make sure that it's safe to use for students under the age of 13. So teachers who are actually on Google Apps for Education can deploy to their classrooms. If you are not on Google Apps for Education, you can also work through your administrator to get Spark deployed to the entire district or the entire school, the premium version. So all the information is in here on how to do this. If you have questions about this, feel free to reach out to me. I'll again post my email in the StreamYard chat, and I can kind of help troubleshoot for you.
Okay, please, if you have another question, post in the comments. And let me tell you, Clara, I was really excited about being ACE level 1. And I would like to have more time, enough time for make my artifacts and can send them for level 2. I have to do that. Yeah, I have to do it. I am committed with that. So I think sooner I will be ACE level 2.
Yes, and that's great. We can share your lesson plan and your video, and we're working on some other exciting things for level 2s that will be exclusive coming out later for next school year. So more to come on that, but we're working on a couple pieces that will launch some exclusive events and opportunities for level 2 educators.
Okay, I can see another question in our chats. So I am really grateful, and Global GG is too, with your presence. And we love Adobe, I know. And now we are going to begin or continue with our actions to train and get our Adobe Creative Educators certification. So if there's no question, thanks for your great presentation. I have enjoyed a lot. And welcome to come back to Global for presenting anything you want about Adobe.
Perfect.
It's a great presentation.
Thank you so much. And I anytime would love to come back and share some of the other things. And again, if any educators in GEG want to connect or are interested in our live stream show or want to collaborate with us, we are a pretty small team and open to collaboration. So looking forward to connecting with all of you.
Yes. And it's real. Clara add us to their PLN always. I am connected with her. And you should do that. So thanks everybody for coming in, for joining us, and see you next time. Would you like to say anything else, Clara?
No, thank you all for joining. I know that it's super busy right now, getting into spring break and the end of the school year. So thank you for taking the time to join us today, and keep up all that you're doing to support creativity in your classrooms, and looking forward to connecting.
Okay, thank you. So see you next time, my friends, and thanks to you, Clara. Bye.
Thank you.